If you were to slap a Babylon Bee banner on this story,
people would believe it was bona fide parody.
Viva Frei, Montreal litigator turned YouTuber, and this is Winnie the Westie, and I was going to, he actually just waved at the camera, I was going to take the day off vlogging because I hung up 174 political posters today. I did it because I love it, and I did it myself because it allows me to engage with the people on the street as I hang up these banners. I was going to take the day off until I read an article that I swear to you, I saw the headline, I saw a portion of the article, and I thought it was parody, but lo and behold, it's not parody.
It's just fake news.
It is fake, dishonest, and ultimately purely exploitive news that is intended only to push a narrative and not actually educate or inform people, and it is
fake news of the highest order.
Am I keeping you up? It starts with a tweet from the author. Abby Chenoweth was a healthy 16-year-old. She followed safety precautions and didn't leave her house often, but she wasn't vaccinated. Now she's in the ICU with COVID pneumonia via @Florida_today. Not knowing who Emily Walker is, I actually thought, based on the headline and the inserted photograph, that this was actually Babylon Bee parody, but then I scrolled down the comments to read quickly. I saw one comment from Michael Malice, and I quickly understood that this was not intended to be parody or humorous or sarcastic or ironic in any way. Michael Malice, this is why so many people condemn and despise you. Now that might be a little harsh, but it is definitely to the point, and more importantly, I don't think a great many people can possibly disagree with that. This story is wrong on so many levels, but let's actually get into the story just to see how wrong this story is on all the levels. Titusville 16-year-old fighting COVID pneumonia in both lungs at Arnold Palmer ICU. Abby Chenoweth was a healthy 16-year-old. The Titusville teen took virtual classes and wore a face mask when she left the house. Her mom said she didn't have pre-existing conditions and she didn't go out often. You know, reading what this journalist is saying, she's repeating what the mother is saying, as though by repeating what the mother is saying, it is somehow less factually incorrect to repeat that this kid did not have any underlying conditions. Based on the photograph alone, it is quite clear that the kid has at least one underlying condition. And you know, we actually have to jump forward to my tweet just so that nobody accuses me of fat shaming. This is not about fat shaming in any way, shape, or form. This is just about honest and accurate reporting. At the Viva Frei, this isn't a question of fat shaming at _Emily L. Walker. It's a question of being honest. This young girl is morbidly obese by definition, yet you lie and exploit her to push a false narrative that a vaccine and not actual proper health advice is the magic cure. Shame on you. And again, I am not using the term morbidly obese to make fun of this kid whatsoever. This kid is in a very unfortunate position that she should not be in, and I won't go into blaming who for the position that she is in, but morbidly obese does have a definition. From ColumbusWeightLoss.com, Weight Loss Institute, Columbus Regional Health, am I morbidly obese? There are several medically accepted criteria for defining morbid obesity. You are likely morbidly obese if you are: bullet number 1, more than 100 pounds over your ideal body weight, or bullet number 2, have a body mass index BMI of over 40, or bullet 3, have a BMI of over 35 and or experience severe negative health effects such as high blood pressure or diabetes related to being severely overweight. Bullet number 4, unable to achieve a healthy body weight for a sustained period of time, even through medically supervised dieting. It is quite obvious based on the inserted photograph itself that this kid is in fact morbidly obese, and for the journalist to refer to this kid as healthy and then repeat what the mother says, that this kid has no underlying conditions, that is just dishonest reporting for one purpose and one purpose only, and that is to push a narrative. But since Tuesday, she's been in Arnold Palmer Hospital for Children's ICU fighting COVID pneumonia in both lungs. August 25, Abby started to show symptoms of what she and her mother thought was a cold. 2 days later, she started to feel worse. By August 28, she wasn't eating or drinking. Sunday, she tested positive for COVID.
She was not vaccinated.
This journalist is exploiting of this kid's situation to pretend that this kid was an otherwise healthy kid, repeating what the mother said, that she had no underlying conditions, when she quite clearly had at least one clearly visible underlying condition, to promote the idea that the reason for which she is sick and in the hospital has nothing to do with what we can see with our plain eyes. It has to do with the fact that she wasn't vaccinated. And because by the very nature of these stories, we will never know what could have been, and I'm going to pull a Tim Pool here and say nothing in this video constitutes medical advice. Consult with your doctor for proper medical advice. We all know the statistics on the vaccination. There's nothing to add or say about that. It is just to say that when it comes to this particular story, just to pretend and say for the sake of saying that this was a healthy kid with no underlying conditions, it is not honest reporting, and it is done to exploit this child for the narrative. And as we go on in the article also gives us additional reasons to suspect that there might be a little more to this individual situation. While Abby's mom suffers from diabetes and a heart condition, both conditions that make her vulnerable to COVID, she had been fully vaccinated prior to becoming sick. Abby's mom, Stephanie Chenoweth, who also tested positive, said the two went to the monoclonal antibody treatment site at Kiwanis Island Park on Merritt Island Monday morning. While Abby's mom suffers from diabetes and a heart condition, both conditions that make her vulnerable to COVID, she had been fully vaccinated prior to becoming sick. She said the combination of the vaccine and the treatment likely kept her symptoms to just a cough and a loss of taste and smell. And here we learned that the fully vaccinated mother also contracted COVID, and we don't know who gave it to whom. It could have been the fully vaccinated mother that gave COVID to her kid. We just don't know. But we also learned here that the mother has diabetes and a heart condition, which could lead us to suspect that potentially the kid also has diabetes. But no, this kid is totally healthy, followed all the health precautions, and how could this have happened? Obviously, the kid is only in the hospital because she didn't get the vaccine. And then as we read on further down in the article, adding to the otherwise patently absurd statement that this kid was a healthy kid, that the mother said she had no underlying health conditions, a little later on in the article we get a little more indication that this may not in fact be the case. At some point, Abby will have a sleep study done as she suffered from apnea spells at night despite being on a BiPAP machine, Chenoweth said. Again, this is not to make fun of the kid. I genuinely feel bad for this kid, but when the journalist says that this kid is a healthy kid, despite what we clearly see as morbid obesity, she might very well have diabetes because her mother has it, and now we're learning that she has sleep apnea, which is a very common thing in people who are overweight. But the journalist is exploiting of this kid as the poster child for young, healthy kids who get hospitalized from COVID because they were not vaccinated. And as we all know from politics, if you repeat the lie often enough, surely the lie has to become true. And a little later on in the article, this is what the journalist writes. Quote, "Just because you have a healthy 16-year-old doesn't mean they can't be attacked by the virus," end quote, Chenoweth said. You see the game the journalist is playing here. She is yet again quoting the mother who is repeating the idea that they have a healthy 16-year-old when all signs point to the exact opposite. And although I can be direct and a little bit sassy on Twitter, I generally don't talk like Michael Malice, and when it comes to this story, I don't have to because I'm just going to go back and quote Michael Malice.
This is why so many people condemn and despise you.
I genuinely wish Abby all the best, and when she recovers from COVID, I hope she takes a look at other aspects of her life, because despite what this journalist says, despite what her mother says, Abby is not leading a healthy life, and for the journalist to exploit of this story, to exploit of Abby to push a narrative, it is what makes people hate the media. And with that said, if you like my videos, you like my content, please be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and drop a comment in the comment section below because it feeds the algorithm.
Tina, eat the food.
If you want to support the channel, all of these support links are in the pinned comment. We've got PayPal, Patreon, subscribe to our YouTube membership, but the best place to support us is on
VivaBarnesLaw.locals.com.
Robert Barnes and I do weekly streams every Sunday. We do weekly streams with a guest every Wednesday called The Sidebar. All of my content is also on Rumble, so you can watch it there, but more important than any of that, take care of yourselves, check in on friends and family, make sure everyone around you is doing well, and now you know your vlog. Peace out. Booyah!